All right, so on his Twitch stream, DJ Academics discusses the hip hop industry and why its music is in its current state. He
Mm-hmm.
claims the reason music has gotten to the point of watered down TikTok, let's dance it all up, is because the people we support at the top of the genre had went ghost. He also
Mm-hmm.
says there's no motivation to work and there's no motivation for them to rap.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel, Sticks, about DJ Academics' comments about the current state of hip hop being watered down? And really, he was calling out Kendrick. How do you feel about that?
I feel like some of what he's saying has some validity to it. Only because now we're in the day and age of, if you're not streaming, if your music isn't streaming or popping on social media, or you're not doing shows, you're not making money. So people like Kendrick, the Kendricks of the world, or the Coles of the world, or the Drakes of the world, once they create the album that they're gonna create that everybody's gonna listen to, and it gets the stream that they want, they do the shows that they do. Everybody's putting it on their TikTok song. Everybody putting it on their TikTok posts. Everybody's putting it on their Instagram reels. Once they make that bread, what else do they got to do? You know what I'm saying? And I understand what he's saying by that is because it's the right now the state of hip hop right now is being taken over by all the female rappers, bro. You got your Glorillaz out there, you got your Sexy Reds out there, you got your Suki Hanas, you got your Nicki Minaj's, your Cardi B's. That's who you hear most of the time nowadays. Other than, people like what's the boy we were talking about the other
Cole and
day?
Yachty just dropped last night. Cole
Cole
put out a
Yachty
classic.
Nah,
put out a classic verse.
I ain't gonna lie, it was fire. It was fire. I ain't gonna lie, he put a classic verse out there. And people say he's subbing old boy too. He's subbing young boy, but they say he's subbing young boy. But that's neither here nor there. But
Yeah.
But female rappers are ruling the game right now. Kendrick ain't put out an album in like a couple of years now. And that album itself was kind of, to me, it was kind of,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Cole ain't put nothing out in a minute. Drake is about to drop an album apparently in the next coming up in November, next month or November. We really ain't heard from the big rappers in the game here recently, and it's just it. Another thing that he said also too is that the pioneers of the game didn't help the new school with a lot of things too. He called the pioneers of the game dusty, and you had LL Cool J coming at his neck. You also had MC Lyte coming at his neck too.
Was that in the same stream?
I think it was a stream afterwards. I think it was another stream from there, but it may have been because he streams for hours and hours and hours, so he could have said something. He could, but I don't follow DJ Academics as much as I used to. I follow him a lot when they were talking about Tory Lanez, but here recently I kind of fell off of his stuff, and I didn't really follow him much in the first place because he's a weird cat, to be honest. But I kind of see what he's saying though, because but I don't think it's in a weird place with the big names. I just think it's shifting to a more provocative rap. What you think?
So in terms of what the little snippet that I pulled out about what he said, I can understand how he feels, and I understand why fans would agree with him. However, I have a different view on this. I think, what isn't this what we're supposed to do in life? Aren't we supposed to, get into a career, whether we love it or not, make as much money as we can, and then fall back to spend the time that we want to spend where we want to spend it?
Agreed.
I mean, so basically what he is saying is that hip hop is at the state that it's in because the people that we put all our money into, they got rich off of making good music, or at least music that catches the ear enough for them to make the money that they've made. They've gotten satisfied and they fell off. What's wrong with that? That's to me, that's selfish. That's us as fans being selfish because we want the people that we hold dear, we want them to continually work for us. That's not why they got in the game. They got in the game. Hopefully they got into the game because they loved it. Even if they didn't get into the game because they love it, they got into it strictly for the money. They did what they wanted to do. They achieved what they wanted to achieve, and then they got out.
Yeah,
nobody says anything about Waka Flocka, who who
Who ain't?
admitted
Yeah,
after
yeah.
he left, he admitted, I only got into this game to make $30 million. I got that money. I got out. I'm doing other stuff. Nobody
True,
says anything about that.
true. Nobody
And
says anything about that. Yeah.
it's not always up to our ancestors or the people that come before us to keep us afloat. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they can lay the blueprint, they can teach us
Yeah.
the blueprint here and there, but to constantly come back and say, all right, I told you this, now you need to do this. No,
Mm-hmm.
you got to take the game that they give you and innovate it and become,
Your
make it
own
something
person.
different.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not what the fans like, then the people that are actually
Yeah.
hungry and still want it, they're the ones that have to figure out what it is the fans need
Mm-hmm.
and what they're looking for, and give it to them. And every once in a while, if the old heads want to come out, or if the people that we consider current and top tier um, artists want to come back and give us something here and there, some nostalgic music,
Mm-hmm.
let them do that. But
Right.
I feel like we are dinging people, successful individuals, for leaving us on red, essentially, because they made it. I don't think that's right.
I don't think it's right either. And I think he just has this, he has such a strong opinion about this because he is quote unquote a DJ, not just
Mm-hmm.
really a streamer and he just does his own thing now, but he is a DJ. So their work is his work. So
Right.
if there's no real good music out there, according to him, then he doesn't have anything to spend. But he just all he got to do is figure out what's hot, what people are listening to, like the Sexy Reds of the world, and
Right.
just spin that, regardless if you like it or not. Just like you just said, regardless if you like the music or not, this is how you're gonna make your money. So spin those records. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But but that goes back to the whole thing about remember it was an episode that we did where one of the comments that we made is that entertainment is more important than education, and why
Mm-hmm.
entertainers get paid so much more than artists. I mean, than educators do, than teachers do.
Right.
It's to me, it's that, because it's like that comes into it, because now we got a millionaire, talking about what other millionaires aren't doing, but it just don't make it don't make sense to me that why he's calling people out and why he's talking about the pioneers of Dusty and Kendrick can't put out no music and the state of the hip hop game is going down, when it's really honestly not. To be perfectly honest with you, hip hop is still up. It's just, I just think it's shifting. It's shifting a lot. A lot of these women artists are just honestly taking over, and you got a lot of the male artists moving into different directions too. You see Drake doing a lot of more feminine things now too, trying to appeal to a different audience. And of course, we got our boy J. Cole just sticking to his true self, of course. But Kendrick ain't put out no music in a minute. But it's just weird. But he always has some kind of heavy opinion about a lot of things anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what makes him a good streamer, is that he has such hot and viral takes that
Mm-hmm.
get the attention, and he's able to draw the attention of somebody like an MC, or somebody like a LL Cool J, because he has these strong takes and these strong opinions about things. And that's why he's making more money streaming than he's making DJing. He don't even DJ as much no more. He's seen
Right.
on podcasts a lot. He's seen doing his own thing on his streams. But I don't think it's that, bro. I just think it's shifting. I think hip hop is still up. He just wants to hear. I understand him wanting to hear better music, because the music that's out right now ain't really that tough.
Yeah, it's not really lyrical.
Yeah, it's not really lyrical. It's about what's going to get viral, what's going to be hot on your TikTok posts or your reels, or what's going to be, what's going to make the people, what's going to make the people sing to your song. And it's about a dance here, or a lyric there, or a hook here, but it's not really lyrical no more. It's not what we grew up listening to.
Right.
But
But
it's a
that's
different,
not the
different
artist's fault,
now.
though.
It's
That's not
not.
the artist that's not the artist that he mentioned specifically. It's not their fault.
It's not their
They're
fault.
not the
Nah,
ones that
true.
really partake in that type of music. But it could be not only the fact that what I mentioned earlier, that they got the money that they wanted, or they've reached the success, the plateau that they wanted to reach. Now they just want to fall back a little bit. It could be that they're so angry, or what's the word I'm looking for here? They're so I don't know the word I want to say. You always start talking and you know the words you want to say, and then it just doesn't come out.
Right.
But they could be so frustrated. I don't know why I couldn't say think of frustrated. They are frustrated with the fact that the music that they want to make isn't what is getting the clicks. Like, I mean, academic does have a very good point. The current state that we are in is, we want to get a little soundbite so that people can add it to their reels on on Instagram, or add it to their stories or TikTok posts, or whatever the case is. That's what we're looking for, or we're looking for a type of song where one of these influencers can make a dance to it. And that's not really the type of music that your Kendricks, your Coles,
or your Drakes, they don't make that kind of music. Yeah.
Well, Drake, we can't say Drake.
Yeah, we can't say Drake because Drake
had a
dabbles in
few
a lot of different
songs
things. Yeah, true.
Drake's had a few songs that has become TikTok classics, or somebody's made a dance to. So we can't include Drake, even though Drake does make, he is, I would consider him to be, he's multifaceted. I mean,
that was the word I was just about to say, multifaceted.
He has his songs where he can get lyrical, and then he has his TikTokish, soundbite type songs. You know what I mean?
Slide.
So
head ass.
But I mean, it could be just that frustration, and which is why Kendrick is a part of the quality not quantity group, and Cole is in that same mode. He was working heavily, putting out albums every other year when he first came out, and he's kind of fallen off as far as the albums have come, but he's
doing features like crazy,
a bunch of features here lately, like and killing them. I mean, I think his take is not a fair assessment of,
I don't think so either,
those Kendricks, those type of individuals, because we're complex individuals, man. We have many different ways that we can feel about a situation. And if you just, again, we forget that these people are human. So if you take the fact that they're musicians, they're rap artists, and put them in a regular 9-to-5 and say, oh, this man got rich and he don't do anything anymore, and I'm mad at that, people will look at you like you stupid,
like you dumb.
So so I mean, I don't know, maybe my assessment of his assessment isn't fair to him, but I feel like the take, it was not a fair one, because of, you can't blame these individuals for the reason that hip hop is in the state that it's in, is because these individuals don't make music in the fashion that the artists that we grew up listening to made, or frequency they used to make it. I mean, and he's not the only one. Joe Budden says it also. He feels like artists as a whole, not just hip hop artists, but R&B artists as well, don't put out music as frequently as they used to.
And I mean, excuse me, and I mean too, but and even in that same sense, whenever these artists that he mentioned, the Kendricks, the Coles, the Drakes, whenever they do drop, the downloads, the listens are heavy. So, and everybody's bumping in their cars, everybody's putting on their TikToks, everybody's putting on their social media. The music that whenever they do drop, whether it's 2, 3, 4 years down the line, they're always going to get those downloads regardless. And whenever they do concerts, like Drake is on the tour right now, Drake's concerts are selling out. So what else do you want these guys to do? Like they're putting out music. And once they drop that album, they got to go on tour to make the money from the album, because you don't buy CDs no more. So you got to go on tour, which is going to be a year or so that they're going to go on tour, however many months they're going to do it, 9, 10, 11, 12 months. And then they're going to take a break, maybe for a year. Then they might drop another album, because the way of the game now, whenever you making music, is totally different than it was whenever the LL Cool J's, the MC Lights, even Jay-Z, when he first started, the age of the game now is totally different from the way it was back in the day. Because you can get somebody, so you can have people dropping, just like DMX dropped 2 albums in a year. Nobody's doing that no more, because you don't buy CDs no more. So
you also, my fault. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was about done anyway.
You also don't have a lot of these artists under contract with these major labels. They're more independent now. So when you're under contract with these major labels, they require you to put out this amount of albums. So in order to get to that point to where you can renegotiate your contract with them, or even potentially get out of your contract, a la Frank Ocean put out a bullshit album, and then the next day, to get out of his contract, and then the next day he put out the real album under himself. That's probably what it is. Like, a lot of these artists that we consider top tier are no longer under these contracts that they were required to put out these type of a certain number of albums, and now they can just do what they want to. They can put out an album, like you mentioned, go on tour for half the year, a year, 2 years, whatever the case may be, rake in all that money from the tour, from the merchandise sales. All right, I'm good.
Sit back and relax.
Money starts to run out, relax, whatever the case is. Let me go back, create another album. Because streams aren't really, you got to get 1 billion streams to even get $1,000 or something like that. I mean, I don't know the actual numbers, but I know it's astronomical, the amount of streams you have to get in order to make a good portion of money. So, I mean, it's just like you said, the game is different. It's not about the contracts anymore. A lot of these artists are quasi-independent to where they can make more decisions about how they put out their music and what they do with their music, rather than the label making the decisions for them. So I just feel like, to put this on the label, put this on the rapper and not the label, to me is not a fair assessment. That's the last time I'll say it's not a fair assessment too.
Yeah. And you mentioned Frank Ocean dropping a BS album and dropping a real joint, which was a banger, by the way, the next day. And we gotta mention the late great Nipsey Hussle too, being independent his whole career, owning everything from the publishing to all the rights to his music, fully integrated. So you gotta understand that he just gotta understand it's different, and music ain't the same as it was before, man. Yep. Thank you for watching this video. If you've made it this far and you like what you see, there's a video on the screen right here. Make sure you click that and view that. We think you're going to love it. Also, that subscribe button that's right there on the screen, go ahead and hit that. We still got that goal of 450. And when you're on all of your streaming platforms, wherever you find your podcasts.